The Ship of Fools, Episode 14, The Dragonriders, The World of Fire and Sky. The battlecruiser emerged from hypersprint into a region of space that shimmered with heat distortion, as though the vacuum itself were smoldering. Ahead lay a world unlike any they had seen, a vast sphere of volcanic ridges, emerald forests, and oceans that glowed faintly red beneath the clouds. Lightning forked across the atmosphere in slow, graceful arcs, illuminating the surface in flashes of molten gold. Moxie leaned forward, eyes wide. "That planet is alive." Snipes adjusted the sensors, frowning. "Alive and angry. I'm getting thermal spikes big enough to fry the ship's hull." Aurora's voice carried a note of caution. "Commander, this world is classified as uncharted and potentially hostile. I recommend maintaining distance." Commander Christopher Banning stared at the swirling clouds. "We're explorers. We explore." Snipes muttered, "We're idiots. We idiot." But the ship drifted closer, drawn by something none of them could name, a pull that felt ancient, magnetic, and faintly dangerous. As they descended toward the upper atmosphere, the clouds parted, and the sky erupted in fire. The first dragon, a shadow, swept across the ship, enormous, winged, and impossibly fast. Snipes yelped and ducked. Moxie pressed her face to the viewport. "Did you see that?" she whispered. Banning swallowed. "I'm trying not to." The shadow circled back, and this time they saw it clearly. A creature the size of a shuttle, scales shimmering like molten metal, wings beating with thunderous force. Flames curled from its jaws, trailing embers across the sky. A dragon. A real, living dragon. Snipes whispered, "We're gonna die! We're gonna die in a fantasy novel!" But then another shape appeared, riding on the dragon's back. A woman. Tall, poised, armored in iridescent plates that caught the sunlight like gemstones. Her blonde hair streamed behind her like a comet's tail. She held a spear tipped with glowing crystals at both ends, and her eyes burned with fierce intelligence. She guided the dragon with effortless grace, leaning into its movements as though the two were one creature. Moxie exhaled. "She's beautiful." Banning nodded. "She's terrifying." Aurora added, "She is approaching." The dragon swooped toward the PP-608, flames licking the air around it. The woman raised her spear, and the ship shook as a blast of fire washed over the shields. The warning. The dragon hovered before the ship, wings beating slow, powerful strokes that sent shockwaves through the air. The woman on its back spoke. Not through comms, not through translation tech, but directly into their minds. "Leave this world." Her voice was clear, resonant, and edged with steel. Banning flinched. "We come in peace." "Peace is not permitted. Trespassers are not suffered." Moxie whispered, "She's telepathic." Snipes whispered, "She's angry." Aurora's hologram flickered. "Commander, multiple life forms are approaching." The sky darkened. Dozens of dragons emerged from the clouds, red, gold, obsidian, emerald, each ridden by a warrior woman clad in armor that glowed with inner fire. They formed a circle around the ship, wings beating in perfect rhythm. A skyborn army, a living storm. The lead rider's voice echoed again. "You have entered the domain of the Drakara. Turn back or be cleansed by flame." Banning raised his hands instinctively, though no one could see him. "We didn't mean to intrude. We're explorers." Exploration is a form of spying, and spying is dangerous. Moxie whispered, "She thinks we're predators." Snipes whispered, "We're prey." The summons. Before Banning could respond, the lead rider extended her spear. A beam of light shot from its tip, enveloping the battlecruiser in a shimmering cocoon. Aurora's voice sharpened. "Commander, we are being pulled toward the surface." The ship descended rapidly, guided not by engines but by the will of the Drakara. The clouds parted to reveal a sprawling valley of volcanic stone and crystalline towers. Dragons perched on ledges, their eyes glowing like embers. Rivers of lava flowed through channels carved by ancient claws. The ship landed on a platform of obsidian. The lead rider dismounted, her boots striking the stone with a sound like ringing metal. She approached the ship with regal confidence, her dragon lowering its head behind her like a loyal guardian. Banning, Moxie, and Snipes stepped out, slowly, cautiously. The rider studied them with eyes that seemed to see through flesh and bone. "I am Sarastra," she said aloud now, her voice rich and commanding. "First of the Drakara, keeper of the flame, guardian of the sky-bound realm." Banning nodded awkwardly. "I'm Commander Christopher Banning. This is Moxie Lane and Snipes Kale. We're, visitors." Sarastra's expression hardened. "Visitors are thieves who have not yet stolen." Moxie stepped forward. "We're not here to take anything." Sarastra tilted her head. "Then why come?" Moxie hesitated. Curiosity. Sarastra's eyes softened. Barely. Curiosity is a spark. Sparks become fire. Fire becomes destruction. Snipes whispered, "Hey, what does she think her pet dragon's breath?" Banning elbowed him. The trial of intent, Sarastra led them into a cavern lit by molten rivers and glowing crystals. Other Drakara warriors watched from the shadows, their dragons coiled behind them like living statues. Sarastra gestured to a circle carved into the stone. "Stand within. Prove your hearts." Banning stepped forward. "What does that mean?" "Truth reveals itself in flame." The circle ignited. Fire rose around them, not burning, but illuminating. The flames shifted colors as they reacted to each crew member. Moxie's flame glowed blue, calm, focused, honorable. Snipes' flame flickered green, curious, chaotic, unpredictable. Banning's flame turned gold, brave, anxious, conflicted. Sarastra watched silently. Then the flames rose higher, swirling into shapes, memories, fears, desires. Moxie saw herself standing alone on a battlefield, unbroken. Snipes saw a machine he had never built but desperately wanted to. Banning saw himself leading the crew through darkness, unsure if he was guiding them or failing them. Sarastra stepped forward. "Your hearts are not poisoned. You may live." Snipes exhaled. "That's good. I like living." "But," Sarastra added, "you must still prove your purpose." The sky trial. Sarastra led them to a cliff overlooking a vast expanse of sky. Dragons soared above, weaving patterns through the clouds. "You will ride," she said. Banning paled. "Ride what?" A dragon landed before him, enormous, scarred, and staring at him with an expression that could only be described as amused. Moxie grinned. "This is amazing." Snipes whimpered. "This is terrible." Sarastra mounted her own dragon with effortless grace. "If you fall, you die. If you cling too tightly, you insult the dragon. If you panic, you burn." Banning swallowed. "Great. Perfect. Love this." The dragons took flight. The sky roared around them, wind, fire, wings beating like thunder. Banning clung to the dragon's neck, trying not to scream. Moxie whooped with joy, leaning into the wind. Snipes flailed, shouting apologies to the dragon every few seconds. Sarastra guided them through a series of aerial maneuvers. Dives, spirals, flame arcs. The dragons tested them, pushing them to their limits. And slowly, something shifted. Banning loosened his grip. Moxie matched the dragon's rhythm. Snipes stopped screaming. The dragons accepted them. Sarastra nodded approvingly. "You learn quickly." Banning gasped. We're just trying not to die. That is the beginning of wisdom, Sarastra replied. The choice. Back on the ground, Sarastra faced them with a solemn expression. You have proven yourselves, she said. You may leave our world unharmed. Banning exhaled in relief. But, she continued, you may also stay? Moxie blinked. Stay? Sarastra gestured to the valley. Dragons soaring, warriors training, firelight dancing across stone. We are few. Our world is vast. We seek allies who are brave, curious, and unbroken. Her gaze lingered on Banning. You carry doubt, Commander, but doubt is the shadow of responsibility. You would make a fine Drakara mate. Banning stared at her, stunned. Moxie looked tempted. Snipes looked terrified. Sarastra waited. The valley glowed with fire and possibility, but the PP 608 waited too. Battered, ridiculous, dysfunctional, and theirs. Banning shook his head gently. We have a path. It's messy, but it's ours. Sarastra nodded, respect in her eyes. Then go, and carry our flame with you. The departure. As the ship lifted off, dragons soared beside them in a final salute, wings spread, fire trailing behind them like ribbons of light. Sarastra's voice echoed in their minds one last time. You are known to us now, and you are always welcome. The ship rose through the clouds, leaving the world of dragons behind. Snipes collapsed into his chair. I'm never riding anything without seatbelts again. Moxie smiled softly. I'd go back. Banning stared out at the stars. So would I. Aurora flickered beside him. Commander, your heart rate suggests emotional conflict. Banning sighed. Yeah, I know. My heart does that sometimes. The stars stretched ahead, endless, dangerous, beautiful. The PP 608 flew on. End of episode 14 and to be continued.